So happy Friday to all you tool heads and welcome to the CNFT Tools AMA with me, Mango, your moonlighting degenerate from Ratsdow. Tonight we welcome not only one of the most iconic and unmistakable projects on Cardano, but one that is unique across all the blockchains. Uni 25 fuse an intriguing dystopian law that's rooted with a reference to a chilling 1960s scientific project which has eerie modern day significance. Uni 25 fuse incredible artwork with science, with a dystopian future, which is, I think, is absolutely intelligent and it's mind-blowing. Tonight we've got co-founders Max and we've got Flavio in on the server tonight, who's going to do a live draw, which I've not seen that done before, and I think maybe I've seen some of there's knockers here as well. I don't know, but welcome tonight, Uni 25. How are you? How's things, Max?
Doing good. What an introduction. It means a lot. Thank you very much for all the kind words. So we can't wait for this interview. I feel a little bit like in the mood to reveal a lot of stuff. So we've kind of have some spicy stuff to announce. So I hope some people enjoy what we're about to say.
I reckon so. I mean, you're a project I've been following for some time. I think was it late September, mid-October? I know your first mint was in December, but there was a lot of preparation, wasn't there? In front of that, it was a mint of 100 that I think that drew, and I remember there's a lot of community buy-in and hype and well-founded hype in the project as well. But it's been 5 months. How's it been?
Yeah, good. We initially as a team started over in October. Everything happened. We kind of went public in September and then had a mint in December. We did a little airdrop to the first 101 people that joined our Discord. We did like a little first thank you appreciation OG tokens, which are kind of like a cornerstone of our project. They are becoming quite a big kind of a big power within our community with with a lot to say, and we just dropped some announcements about the OG specifically today, as we're going. So a lot of fun stuff with the OGs and mint in December. And since then, we've been quietly building and observing the space from afar, just to really make our move based on how we see the Cardano space growing. Since back then, it was a super young community. Back in December, it was very unsure how everything is going, the technology, but also, the communities and the volume and everything. So we were like, let's build, prepare, and get ready and just make sure that everything is ready. And when we feel that the market is, stable, we'll come out of our little shadow and we'll show the world what we're about.
But that's the thing with Uni 25. I've always thought it was a project that was here to stay, that was developing it, with the roots in its storytelling and its history, and it was always one for me that I could see it growing, and one for there's a story. Just for those that you don't know at the moment, we've got Flavio.
I was like, Discord just rugged me.
In the background.
It's almost like a Twitter space. Back then in the early days of Twitter space, everybody once in a while, everybody would get rugged. Yeah. It feels nostalgic.
Flavio, good night. But hello, by the way.
Yeah, you're back.
He's there. So this has been recorded as well, which we're going to put on YouTube and share. But I think this is, as you can see in the background, we've got Flavio, lead artist on Uni 25, doing a sketch as we talk. And has this been done before? Have you done this with your community?
We try and do it every month. We try and do like a little hangout with us AMA session. We've been starting that since I think more regularly, not long ago, March. And now with the release of our stake pool, where we start offering, monthly delegation winners, we do live streams where the winners of a monthly Epoch giveaway, which is a one-on-one piece that they get to, choose how it looks and everything. We live stream that. So we do a little AMA, just hanging out together, have some lo-fi music and just Flavio doing his thing. And since Flavio is now soon to be full-time, we hope to do these kind of events more often. So, because Fridays he tends to be quite tired from a crazy week at work. So we try to kind of spare him a nice little Friday once in a while.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, so we hope to do these things more. Yeah, we love doing that.
So are you full-time now in the space, or are you still grinding?
No, I'm full-time. I just went since, technically mid-March. Flavio still has, I think, about 2 months on his contract. In Switzerland, you have 3 months contractual obligation to stay with the company when you put in your resignation letter. And we both work for the same company. So a little bit sorry for my boss, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I kind of filed in a little sooner, and now he's following us, and that's kind of also a big foundation that we've kind of built the project around, is really making sure that Flavio can make the move full time. It's a big leap of faith, and it's quite a big move in Switzerland, especially life in Switzerland is not the cheapest, so kind of having to make sure financially and everything is good. So it's a massive leap of faith that we kind of really want to make sure we had a good foundation which is solid for Flavio to take that leap.
Yeah, it's all about foundations.
He finally did it, so it's exciting.
Congratulations. I mean, there's nothing more bullish for a project, I don't think, as an indicator when the staff are going full time into this, where they've got that stability. That now they can start investing, because nothing hampers or hinders creativity than in real life shit. I know it myself.
Yeah.
So it must be. So,
especially also, I think, a challenge, because in his job, I'm talking about on Flavio on his behalf. If Flavio, if you want to reply, just chime in. But it's again, we worked together, and we were both in a creative industry. So he was kind of lead or creative art director in the company. So his job was to be creative 24/7 all week, and then you had us, bombing him with requests and questions, be like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" Yeah. So your creativity tab kind of at one point, also kind of gets dried out. So, especially with the trade counts that we have and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure that we didn't burn him out during that that phase, and because that technically puts the whole project at jeopardy in a sense. So. That's our goal, was to really build about that kind of jump that Flavio's just doing now in the space. So we're really, really happy about that, and we can't wait to see how much more we can do now.
No, I'm looking forward to it too. Look, Max, can I go back into kind of the origins? And some might know this, but it's me being a fanboy, really. I'm absolutely fascinated by the Universe 25 scientific project that took place, and how eerily similar and worrying it is that it's a reflection of today's society. Who came up with that concept? And so, for those that you don't know, the Universe 25 project originally was a project by a scientist in the 60s, 70s, who took a family of rats, about 4 pairs of rats. Did you want to explain this, Max? But you probably do it a lot better than I can. Or?
Yeah, I'll do the quick elevator pitch, which is basically a mad scientist, if you put it that way. And it's like not rats, but it's mices. Like, we also play around with the community that if somebody calls O'Brien a rat, he kind of like goes off and really talks some shit. So they were like, he did, I think, 40 mices. He put them in a hole and just let them be. And gave them an abundance of anything. So the rats lived in that kind of like utopia. So technically, you'd think that they would be thriving and everything was going fine, and that guy, James Kuhn, would just analyze the behavior of the mice in that scenario and how they would, kind of react to having everything. So their natural instincts basically shut down. The beginning was kind of okay, but if I'm not going to go into too much details, otherwise we'll be talking for 2 hours. But it's worth the read. The end is pretty much, I can swear, I guess, but it's quite fucked up. To be honest, it's pretty messed up. So it doesn't end very well. There's some cannibalism involved and some stuff, but we're not going that deep in the whole thing. But we kind of used it as a philosophy about the project, just because we feel that we can it gives us a very good creative freedom to kind of build anything around this that we want.
Yeah.
So however we feel like, tackling today's topic that we think is very impactful. And maybe today I might leak the topic of the next circle. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll tickle you until you do. I'm sure you will.
But the goal was really to make sure that we have a creative freedom where we can be very honest with ourselves about topics that we think are quite difficult in today's society. So phone addiction was something that the more we were all in crypto and more we were invested in crypto, the more we started realizing that there's a massive issue around this. So, the kind of FOMO, phone addiction kind of thing, and just being connected 24/7.
100%.
So we felt that was for us the right point to start. So that's where the journey started, as the historical point.
Yeah.
In the project.
I love it. But for me, I think that I found a metaphor with the project, with us all being now in this world of a phone where we just tranquilized ourselves with our devices. Completely in too much comfort with technology now, where we rely on technology pretty much for everything. We don't see the world around us. That was a striking similarity to what the project was. The Uni 20.
Well, if you look at from a human evaluation perspective, and this is now just me going into that kind of discussion, but it's kind of like technically we reached that utopia kind of situation that Carl Kuhn was kind of John Kuhn was researching, back then, because as a humanity, like, let's say a big percentage of humanity do have an abundance of everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, unfortunately, as I say, there's a lot of people that don't, but the people involved in this space usually are from that background that kind of have an abundance of, internet's there, the phone's there, electricity's there, water's there, food is there. So, what is our human nature, there? So we felt that we didn't want to be that depressing about it. We don't want to be that, this kind of this depressed little hole. But we did want to give like a light-hearted view on that concept, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
and the escape.
That's why we started with the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the escape.
So you touched on how you and Flavio met at work in Switzerland. Is Flavio Portuguese, by the way?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, me too.
I was born and raised in Switzerland.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I'm half Portuguese, half English, half Portuguese. So I always keep an eye out when I see the Portuguese people in the space. I always keep an eye out. So you met Flavio at work. How about the rest of the team then? Who is it? So you got Knockers, who I think does the storytelling, isn't it? And who else?
Yeah, so we right now core team, if you want to put it this way, we have George, which is also here online in the chat. We both met on a project that we kind of met, and we kind of kicked it off very early. And he's kind of like the brain behind the codes. He knows, that kind of language that we all don't understand. And then we have Ivan, which kind of is the guy in the background working on some stuff, just helping us with a couple of financial stuff.
Yeah.
And then from the community early on, we realized very quickly that we had some people in the community that were very involved, and two of which were Squid and Knockers. Mm-hmm. And they were very good at creative writing, and we kind of wanted to evolve this story beyond just an image. And they really were proactive and started writing the lore. So Knockers and Squid kind of started that, the weekly lore drops that we have even to date. Squid is currently on a kind of personal break. He has, just can't just focus on the project, but Knockers is still on board and kind of really becoming a good teammate for us and helping us a lot on various stuff. And we now just also announced our new guy, which is Danielle, which is our second lore guy with Knockers. Mm-hmm. And he and Knockers just kind of like make sure the lore and everything that we are about to build and looking to build gets well written, and makes a sense. It's very difficult with this confusing, or not confusing, but it's quite complex storyline that we have. It's very difficult to have a bigger picture and make sure everything makes sense, and all those twists in and paths and everything are well written. So that was our priority. So it's definitely two key people that we have on board.
Yeah, and I think Knockers is just a prime example of a positive community member that's contributing and trying to help with the success and being supportive. I think it's just a really nice story. Then they become involved in the project, and it's to anybody who's supporting any project out there. The more you kind of jump in the Discord and help and support the devs, because when you start a project, you have your core ideas, don't you? And it's a concept that you work with, but then it's your community that help kind of grow it and shape it into to what it becomes. Then it's a community project in the end.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, sometimes as a project, you tend to kind of live in your bubble. So sometimes you see problems that you don't see problems that others see, just because you are kind of like in your perfect utopia of universe, and everything is fine and everything is understandable. So in the early days, we realized very quickly that, for example, our roadmap was something that people were kind of questioning, because we were very vague about it and we were very secretive about things, just because we like being a little bit, a little bit secretive. People know that we kind of like leaking stuff and not dropping. And then we realized very quickly that, okay, this makes sense to us, but not to the community, just because we are kind of living in the lore, but people are still, not on our Discord 24/7. So they will be missing stuff. And so, we made those adjustments, and having someone like Knockers that could bring that perspective in the project was really helpful, because, we have to be also honest with ourselves. We're not perfect. And you can't think about every possible outcome and every possible thought and member. So it's helpful to have somebody from the community, and I always recommend that to people.
Creativity is all about input, isn't it? It's relationships and input and exposure to the world around us and to people around us, and that's where it grows. So the more you expand,
100%, yeah.
What I always noticed with you guys was how active you were in Discord as a team. I always used to see you kind of having meetings, before the main drop, and I thought it was cool as anything. It's like, the team are meeting, they're in a chat box together. So that was a really nice touch. Was that a conscious decision, or did you know we could see you working away, or was that something you wanted to kind of show to keep the momentum?
We didn't want to hide, behind, like little things and just act as if we were working in a way. Like we really wanted to show people that, we're putting in the work, we're not sleeping, we're doing what we have to do to make sure that everything goes well. And usually these, like how we're having the call now is usually how our meetings went. Because as soon as like Flavio was very honest in the beginning, because it was like, hey guys, as soon as it gets into techie stuff, I'm just going to zone out and draw. So he would basically in those meetings sometimes just zone out when we were doing sort of short chatting about, minting systems and, wallets and all that stuff. And he just does his thing drawing. And we realized very quickly that sometimes our meetings just took 7 hours or 8 hours just because we were, chatting with Flavio, brainstorming traits and all that stuff. So, and then we realized it could be a fun thing for the community to also have, with these live streams, so that's how these live streams came to be.
It is cool. There used to be this American dude, California, called Bob Ross. You'll see memes of him. He's got this amazing hair. I think he's even been captured in some NFTs that have gone around. But he used to just sit in front of this easel painting away. And it always used to be on after going on a night out, coming home at 2:00 in the morning, just eating with your kebab or just drunk. It'd be on TV, like repeats from the 70s, and I was just transfixed watching it. Anybody who's watched Bob Ross, it's just the most gorgeous thing that you could ever watch. He was drawing these happy clouds, and here's some nice pretty clouds. We just had a little bit of blue here, and some little smiley clouds, and everything in life is okay. It's just really that kind of vibe.
He's like the most positive and peaceful guy you can even imagine, that Bob Ross. Yeah,
He's my spirit animal.
I remember those days. Brilliant.
So it's really good, but that's the kind of feeling I get now when I'm watching Flavio just do his thing. It's pretty cool to see, and obviously he's on an iPad here. I recognise that's Procreate, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a Procreate wizard. Yeah,
I can see
iPad Pro and Procreate. I usually, in the past, I drew the stuff first on paper, and then I went to the digital plane, but since I've got the iPad and the Procreate, I more and more started sketching directly on the iPad, and I have to say I never thought I would go fully digital, but here I am. It's just so intuitive.
Yeah.
So
I can see
Procreate is really a great software, and you can do animations now and draw on 3D objects and stuff. It's really great.
So for those of you who don't know, Procreate he's working on an iPad here with an Apple Pencil. I assume you're on an Apple device. And it's dirt cheap, Procreate, as well. I think it cost me 10 quid, 15. Now I'm not bad at art. I'm nowhere that I can do anything. I can scribble and just draw like a penis and a balls and make it look classic thing. But it is so cool that literally anybody can pick it up. There's tutorials all over YouTube how to do it to the expert level now that Flavio's do. That's something else, but it's such an accessible and cheap form of software that this is what people are using, aren't they, to draw. It's superb.
Oh, if they would get percentage or royalties based on every NFT project that are launching with Procreate, they would be, they would be on a different place. I think everybody really lives in that platform, and it's insane what you can do nowadays on a tablet. Like it's so insane. It's mind blowing to me.
And processing power is doubling every time, so it's just getting more and more.
Yeah.
Flavio, have you got one of those screens over the top of it? One of these things that makes it feel more paper-like, like overlays on your iPad.
Yes, it's called even Paperlike.
Yeah, Paperlike. Yeah.
So the brand is Paperlike. Yeah, I've got these, and I also have a glove from Pen Tips.
Yeah.
The tips themselves, I'm not using them, but I noticed that the glove, in my case, helps a lot because with me, how I draw, I always rest a part of the hand palm on the screen.
Yeah. And
then I draw, and it always recognizes that specific part of my hand as 2 fingers, and then it doesn't undo. So I really need a glove too, so it doesn't undo stuff without me noticing.
So you're like Michael Jackson there with one glove on one hand and the other on
exactly.
You motherfucker! Just had Michael Jackson there, just going off on one. Sorry about the distraction there, but it's just that I get fascinated by the tech behind all these things, and to see someone just utilizing that tech with so flawlessly it's just fascinating to see. So 6 months, we've seen the project, we've heard about the law, in terms of like the development, the story, the history. We're now, lots been happening. You've got a stake pool that's out, haven't you? So how many stakers have you got? How much have you got in that stake pool?
I think we're roughly about 300 stakers,
Yep.
and we're about 700,000 data staked. So yeah, so we've been minting consistently blocks. We've been, and we give away 100% of the rewards.
Yep.
So we don't, we really want to make sure that everybody gets their ADA worth, if we're staking with us. But we also kind of do each epoch we do a giveaway of a NFT. And once a month, that epoch will be like a special price. So as mentioned before, we do the custom one-on-ones, but sometimes we're going to mix it up. So for example, last month, Null, one of our members, won the monthly giveaway, and he won a physical printed print of an NFT that he owns. So he's going to get that. Should be in the mail. I just got kind of information that he's got stuck in customs, obviously, because they didn't believe me that it's a gift.
There's always problems in Switzerland sending in and out, isn't there? There's something on your Swiss borders where they like to just sit in it for a while, I think.
They love paperwork.
Yeah.
If you miss a comma, they'll catch you. So it's stuck there now for a week, and I was in the US, so I couldn't react, but it's really just our ways of, because like we're building merch, but merch is quite a complexity in Switzerland because of taxes and of opening a company and all that stuff. So it's a little bit more difficult. So we were like, okay, how can we still provide people a physical piece? And that's where the monthly giveaway are. And so it can range from physical print. We have a skateboard print, custom skateboard prints, for somebody that's a little bit more hip. We have stickers and all of that beautiful stuff that we'll be, kind of giving to them for the time being until we reach, that level where we can provide proper merch, quote unquote.
Yeah. Going back to the stake pools, I think it's always, whenever we mention stake pools, I think it's important to, I don't know, to give a brief summary of why stake pools are important. And they're not money makers necessarily, are they? But it's an important part of Cardano and giving back to the Cardano community. Do you want to expand on that? Because I'm sure.
Yeah, but for us, it's because Cardano is built around the notions of stake pool and everybody being able to individually support SPOs that you believe in, and at the same time you provide support to the network by being able to validate more blocks and all that stuff. So the more we have, the more stable things can be. I'm not as technical versed compared to George on our team, but
yeah.
We also want to do our part on that end, but at the same time, we want to give people a reason to stake with us. And I think the OG airdrop, we started a project with an airdrop, kind of showed our mentality towards giving away stuff. We love doing that. So kind of the stake pool is an extension of that, is trying to give away something where we can afford it monetary. Obviously we're not made of money. But still, we want to make it worth people time, worth people times to kind of stake with us and get them something a little bit bonus on whatever it is, and each month we give away a big one. So that's kind of how we could structure it and finance it, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so far we've been consistent. We haven't missed haven't missed an epoch, and everybody's got their reward. So it's quite for us a little way of giving back and kind of thanking people for their patience. We were very, very honest in the beginning of the projects that we are a longevity project. We don't want to mint for the sake of minting. Everything that we mint or do has to make sense. So that's kind of our philosophy. So a lot of people that kind of know us since the beginning are aware of this, that obviously we could have put Flavio in a basement, whip him a little bit more, and we'd be able to push out mint every month. But we wanted to see first how the space is growing, how the tech is changing, just because and also have zero compromise on what we believe is our project. So that's why the 6 months and the building and there. So, and us being active in Discord is kind of our way of showing, hey, we're here. We're not, we're not sleeping in a way and just, waiting until our ADA funds run out and then just do a mint because we need that money again. It's really just a fact of us being around, hanging around with people, and building on the side and making sure that the next move is the right one for us and for the community.
I think your hardcore fans know that as well. They're with the patients, and they knew this was a project that was long term. But it's hard, isn't it? You're always fighting against that instant gratification, isn't it? That people want results instantly. As soon as it's minted, what's next? That utility.
Yeah.
Have you found that? Has that been a challenge, kind of dealing with that side of things, or?
Well, if I can be honest, like mentally, yes. The strain mentally, kind of like your mental health in a sense, it is something that, as a project owner, we worry about. Because that mainly we care about the community. Like and that's as cliche as it may sound, like, you always mention community, but for us, it is an aspect that we really want to make sure is safe. And, so it is difficult to see, and get, but to be honest, at the same time, while I say it was very difficult mentally, to kind of deal with this, it was also made very easy to us by the community, because we do have a very, very patient and understanding and supportive community. And again, it's not something I just say, to sound cool, but we really do mean it. And I hope we show it enough, in appreciation and everything that we do or announce. But I don't think we would pull off a project like this on any other platform and with a different community. I think
Why do you think that?
But at the same time, well, I think it's the nature of anything. It's also you kind of if you're honest about your intentions and how you do it, I believe you kind of also attract that target audience, if you want to put it in those terms. But if you move fast and you do things fast and you announce things fast and you kind of don't, then obviously you'll get that people that are used to that kind of mentality in a project. You also get them. So I think we kind of managed to build a community that very much understands our philosophy and who we are as a project, and I think that helped us very much making sure that, like, as I like using that example, so far in our Discord we've banned 3 actual humans, besides obviously those random bots that just joined back in the minting times, but actual people that fudded and were really causing issues. I think there was 3 people, 2 of which was just posting address during mint.
Yeah.
That's it, and 1 that actually was a little bit of a difficult situation.
Bit of a knobhead.
That's it. Yeah, okay. I'm
trying to ban those knobheads.
But so to us, I think that kind of shows that you get what you attract in a sense, and it's not saying anything bad about anything else out there, but it's just how I kind of reflect it, and that's really what kept me really going in and being on Discord every day. I'm very rarely off Discord, even though tomorrow I'm taking a day off where I'm trying to not be on the internet, but it really helps with a community like this, like and that's something I think makes us even work harder to make sure that the next move is the right one.
Yeah. I'm like a broken record, because I'll say it time and time again. It's just, there's nothing more for me. I just absolutely love connecting with people all over the world. The fact that I'm talking to 2 Swiss guys here, there's people here listening in the Discord from all over the world. It just is it's been the best thing in my life. And there is an economic, obviously there's finance where we're making money, but for me it's that connections with different people all over the world. As part of Rats, I've got Argentinian friends, Guatemalan friends, and it's filled seriously, I'm being wet here, but it's so much joy that I derive from that, that I don't know where else you could get this kind of experience from it. And that's what keeps me kind of chimed into it.
That's what I love, about, again, it just sounds every time cliche when you sound it, but there's a truth to it. That's kind of the beauty of the whole thing. Like, I've just went to the US recently, last week, to meet George. We've been talking almost daily. I talk more to him than my girlfriend, and he talks more to me than his wife. So we were like, hey, I think it's time to meet. So,
it's time to leave our girlfriends and shack up with each other.
We cuddle a bit, but don't say anybody. But it's just quite interesting, the people you meet and how people are caring about projects. And we really have a lot of people that believe in us and are really not rushing us in a way. We do feel the pressure because we put the pressure on ourselves. Like, and I think sometimes we do tend to be too, how do you say, I think we sometimes like, and I think that's something we're learning as a team, because we all come from different backgrounds, and we all doing this for the first time. But something that we've learning very much is also it's okay to announce stuff that are not in the near future. Like maybe an example I can drop, which I never dropped actually.
I was going to say let's get to the alpha soon. Let's give the Uni 25 out some alpha coming through.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one because I hope nobody's in the team kills me. But it's something that we've been passionate about, but very secretive about, just because we are really not sure how and how we're going to be able to pull it off. But we are working on it in a proof of concept terms, which is a not sure if you guys know the old school point and click games. The good old days of point and click storytelling
I do know
games.
them.
With,
of course, like Monkey Island and all those kind of things. Is it no point and click is where you search things, isn't it? On the
Yeah, exactly. So it's a point and click game. Is basically you kind of do a treasure hunt in a game, and it's very story driven. So you can really bring people in the story and kind of like have them look for clues and have them look for little things and details in a game, and it's kind of like a live interactive movie in a way. Just in drawn form. So it's a very ambitious project that we have and wish to do. I think Flavio has been his one of his life real big goals in to do as an artist, and hence why we kind of got Danielle to join the team, because he has backgrounds in storytelling and D&Ds and more kind of layered complex writing. So we're like, okay, let's get someone on board, have him dedicated to write the proof of concept so that we can go to studios and devs and pitch it.
Yeah.
So that's one of the secret things that it would be easy from us to be like, let's slap it on the roadmap and just say we're going to do it. But that's kind of my philosophy, which I think is a bit of an issue in that sense that I'm kind of adapting to is I just like announcing things that me personally I know I can pull off, or we can pull off as a team, because it helps me sleep a little bit better at night because I'm not doing any false promises to anybody. But at the same time, it's very honest. We're working on it. It's not on the roadmap for the sole reason that we don't know how it's going to pan out, how we're going to do it, with who we're going to do it. But it is something we're putting, our investment towards and our times toward, and putting, kind of like our team's time, allocating to it. So it's okay to talk about these things, even though they're not finished. But we're still very careful with what we kind of drop.
If you're speaking about it, because you know that, I think we can do this. So I remember playing Point and Clicks now that you remembered it. It's one of the games that I could get my girlfriend, she's now my wife. But if we're playing PlayStation on a computer, I could get her to join in on one of those, because you go in, you read the storyline, and you just have to search the clues, and then when you find that clue, it takes you to something else, and you just end up clicking all over the screens. But that way, it was something it's like watching a computer game film, isn't it? There is a lot of storytelling. I can see how that would work for you guys.
Yeah.
It also works for me like this. Also with my girlfriend, it's a game style that you can play like on the sofa. You don't have to have like good mechanical skills to be good at the game. It's basically solving riddles, and I did that also with my girlfriend. I was able to play games with her, like story with very strong stories. You could have a nice evening and just play those games.
Yeah, we did the same.
Yeah.
Which ones? Do you remember the names of some of them? 'Cause I forgot now. Which was one? There was a couple of really cool ones. That must have been about 10 years ago, I think it was. But
the classic ones that are really old but very known are, for example, Monkey Island.
Oh, Monkey Island. Yeah, I don't remember those ones. I used to play
the LucasArts games, and the Indiana Jones games from LucasArts. And well, my favorite is one Deponia. It's like from a German company, Daedalic Entertainment. Those are really great. That company does really great point and click adventures. But yeah, there are a lot of good ones because they are story driven. So the things they lack in gameplay, they put into the story, right, and in the visualization of it. And that's why one of my dreams would be to create like a point and click where I could use my story or our story in this case and make a game out of it where people just play it for the story. for the sake of the story, because it's consuming the storytelling is one of the best things that there is, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
utility for me, this is it. Telling a story, being able to live the story, to interact with the story even more.
Yeah, I get it. Now, I don't wish to cause alarm or panic or anyone, or to really upset anybody, but we've got Jack, Chief Deegan, that's just joined in there, so just watch yourselves there. Try not to make eye contact, or he'll scratch your eyes out. So
The boss just walked in.
He's just checking out what's going on in here. With the alpha that you just dropped in terms of the game, is that something that's going to be in terms of assets, and will that link into the NFT world, or how are you thinking?
Well, that's the so right now in terms of proof of concept, what we're working on is kind of writing a storyboard and kind of a proof of concept which is story driven. And then we have a second one that we're working on. Well, not now. We're going to focus on that part more after the next drop that we're working on now. Is going to be more a technical white paper to pitch it to studios. We do have one good connection with quite a big French game studio. I know they're French, but they know their thing. They know how to work sometimes. So we're planning on having a meeting with them, but unfortunately, we can really just have a meeting with them once we have a clear idea about everything. So
even the Swiss take the piss out of the French. Is that true?
Well, I used to live in France for a long time, so I'm allowed to take the piss of them. But and I know that half of what they do is actually quite true, so it's okay to take the piss.
And if I went to watch a match in Lens once, and I got a knife pulled out, and someone tried to rob my popcorn, so
Well, the good one, you caught a French guy on a bad day, which is.
I fought him off. He's not having my popcorn, mate. I think I was on a school exchange. I was about 13 there, so yeah, he's obviously sought after item at the Lawns games, popcorn. So, story game. What else is coming up?
So right now,
what are you talking
again,
about?
so the game is very, it's not a promise. It's something we're just working on.
Yeah.
And it's a very important part. But we'll disclose more information as closer we get to that kind of milestone. But the kind of next chapter for us is really we are prepping and finalizing Circle 2, which is our Euphoria 25 drop, which is going to be the sequel of Euphoria of Society 25.
Yeah.
We released a kind of like a document about what we're doing and how we what we plan on building, and there is going to be 9 circles in total with our project, and each circle is going to be intended to be difficult to join. So we're going to set terms every circle, and the further down the circle we go, the more complex it's going to get to mint. So Circle 2 is going to be our first installment after Society 25. And there the goal is going to be to be able to evolve your human throughout that kind of his journey throughout the circles. Next circle, again, I'm dropping something that I haven't dropped so far, but the tackle of that kind of topic on Circle 2, which is called Euphoria 25, is going to be kind of everything related to VR, metaverse, and which is a very, very accurate, very, very, prominent topic at the moment anyway, not in the NFT space, but in the tech world in general, about, how is the future going to, pan out when we plugged into VR rather than a phone. So that's kind of our sequel. So
come on then, Max, let's open the debate. What's the metaverse to you then?
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah,
I'm really the wrong
you're the right person.
This.
You're the right person to ask then. Come on, what is the metaverse?
I honestly don't have the most positive feedback on that.
Me neither. Well, let's go down this, because the metaverse is all hype. And for me, I'll start then. I'll lead with it. What I think the metaverse is, we need the hype of the metaverse, or the NFT market in general needs the hype of the metaverse, because it gives platform and a basis for our NFTs to exist. Because when we mint a bicycle or whatever it is, or a picture or something, it's going to exist in the metaverse. It's going to be great. In the metaverse, everything's going to be better. All these art that we're going to hang on the wall, and we're going to see them, we're going to high five each other, we're going to dry hump each other in the corridors of our metaverse. It's going to be amazing. It's kind of our digital version, in my view, of what heaven is in the real world. That it's this place in the future where everything's going to get better, and it's not about here and now. Because for me, the NFT space is about here and now, the connections, the relationships, and the friendships that I'm making. I love every every single second of it. And when we get wrapped up in that metaverse, which is somewhere in the future, I think we lose context and the value of what's here at the moment. So I think it's been propped up. I think it's been thrown out there. It doesn't exist. And I think unless Facebook get it right, I don't know how the hell we're going to do it. I'd like to get proved wrong. But if that's not negative enough for you,
well, that's kind of like where the whole idea came up, because we were brainstorming as a team about, okay, how the heck, what's the heck is going to be our second topic, and and I don't know if I mentioned this, but our inspiration for the circle is going to be based on Dante's Inferno. Mm-hmm. So every circle that we do is very much inspired from Dante's Inferno about what happens in that specific circle. Mm-hmm. So the first circle was limbo. So our topic was like, okay, that phone, the state that we're on, constantly staring at the phone. That's very much limbo. You're just staring at it, and you spend 2 hours on it, and then you look at the clock, you're like, oh fuck, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And then now it's kind of like circle 2 is in Dante's Inferno. It's basically lust. We didn't want to do the classic thing like, let's do something 6969 and porny. It could be fun, but we kind of wanted.
We'll save that for the DMs, man.
Sorry,
we'll save that for the DMs.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do a not safe for work drop maybe one day. Flavio had a twisted idea that we had to kind of shut down, but
is that why you keep him quiet and locked in the basement then? Because
but we kind of realized that VR in a sense has a very big form of lust, because it's kind of like lust towards something better than what we have nowadays. Yeah. Even though it's pretty good what we have going on, if you kind of ignore the wars and all that stuff. But then you have a VR world, and then. At that time when we were brainstorming metaverse, that kind of word metaverse was used in every single project, or anything that a Web3 project is like, oh, we're going to build a metaverse. And I'm very much that. I think metaverse at this point is a marketing term. That's 100%. How unpopular I'm going to be. So sorry for everybody that invest in metaverse.
Hey Max, you might be wrong though. This is the thing. It's just an opinion. It's fine to have opinion.
Yeah, that's why I say like I'm somebody very like, I believe everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I'm not. That's why I don't do Twitter too much. I don't like voicing my opinion too much. I like keeping it to myself. But on metaverse, I'm pretty passionate about it, because I think that for me, metaverse is what whatever Ready Player One did in the movie. That's a metaverse, and we are years away from that.
I think we are. I bought a PlayStation VR headset, and I played Astro, and as cool as it was, it made me nauseous and violent at the same time, because I couldn't take in my surroundings. I felt so it's had so much cabin fever within 10 minutes of playing it. I quickly solved it straight away. So I don't know how you're going to get Doris on Facebook sticking this thing on her head, communicating with a grandson in Venezuela. I just don't get it.
I think one day maybe we'll get there, and I think there's so many companies that are kind of like doing it. But for me, a metaverse is basically Minecraft connected on the internet. There's no difference to it. It's basically a game connected to a Web3 wallet. That's for me a metaverse. Well, I think that's what people brand as a metaverse, which is not bad.
To be honest, we're not too far away from it.
I think Sandbox is a perfect example, which is technically the most successful metaverse project in terms of monetization on ETH. Yeah. If you really, I don't know, I've played it and I've kind of looked into it just out of curiosity, but it is just glorified Minecraft with a wallet connected to it, which the tech behind it is amazing, and I think there is a place for it. I don't call it metaverse, I just call it gaming 3.0, in my opinion. But
100%.
That's what I kind of mean.
No, I agree. I think that there is potential there, because if there's any Fortnite fans out there, and I like smashing Fortnite, I like play it. I don't mind admitting it. It's a bit of escapism for me. I go on, I chat with my friends, and we just act like teenagers again playing Fortnite. It's cool. But there's been these events on Fortnite. I think they pioneered it, where they had Marshmello. They've had Ariana Grande. Not a massive fan of Ariana Grande, I'll tell you that. But with the Marshmello, what was really cool was, are you familiar with what happened with Marshmello on Fortnite?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give the context. They gave a live performance on Fortnite. It was only on Fortnite, so the whole thing was drawn and the whole artwork, the whole game was designed for a live concert, and you had to be there and then to watch it. So everyone launched in, you'd see all your friends there in their Fortnite skins, just watching this. And for that first time anything had been done, you think about the amount of effort that's got to go in, the coding, the scripting, the design of the game, the panic that it's actually going to work when it's supposed to work. And I think there's something like 6 million people, or even more than that, logged in, experiencing this at the same time. That for me showed, because it was magical. It was like being at a concert the first time, because it was just like, no one else is seeing this, only us. And we're in this own little world watching it, even though it was 2D. That kind of gave me an insight and hope into what we could create.
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of an indication about and now if you go into terms of more, realistically how, and again, not throwing shade, but if you look at it realistically, how many projects are really going to be able to pull off a metaverse? If you look at the computing power you needed, to kind of run these kind of things, it's insane. And the funding we get, it's not enough. So right now for me, a metaverse is basically I don't know if you guys remember these website was kind of buy a pixel website. Like you could go on the website and buy a pixel and you would get like a monetization from that pixel. Like the $1 million website it was called back then. It was like back in old tech. So that's how I see it at the moment. And this is again not throwing any shade or anything. I respect everybody, doing what they're doing and innovating.
To be fair, I do think I think Clay will do something, and I think it'll be something similar to what with what I experienced at Fortnite, where they'll have some online concert where it'll just be 2D. You'll be watching it on a screen, but you'll see your Clay and you'll be able to see other people's Clays, and you'll recognise, your friends over there who've got their little Clay outfits, and you'll see Snoop or whoever it might be on the stage. And so I think that'll be quite special because you'll recognise people and you'll be able to walk around and interact. And if it's got near field communication as well, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and that's why I think like it's purely going to depend on the tech. I think it's just the definition of a metaverse is going to be changing, throughout the time, and obviously now that's how we perceive a metaverse, which is not wrong, and it's not false promises or anything, but
no,
it's just that for me a metaverse I wish is going to be. I think it's for me my expectation of a metaverse. I don't expect it to happen in the next 10 years. So. But that's just my standards of what I wish is going to come out of a metaverse in a sense. So that's how even a project like Sandbox will not tickle my fancy just because that's what my perception is of a metaverse. So it's not really the project's fault or anything. It's more my perception of of that kind of specific project.
So with all that said, then Max, when's Uni 25 land drop then?
Honestly, we had a joke. Well, I think we had a frustrating meeting, and I'm just being very open with everybody here tonight. But we had a meeting where we were like, okay, in terms of monetization, if we're very honest with each other, it is a profitable business. To be honest, it's not a secret. And we were like, our lore, our story, everything fits just perfectly. A lot kind of a thing. We have the pods with the for the people living in that in our simulation and all of that. So technically, it would be a very easy sell for us as a project to say, hey, buy some land in our simulation. But again, it doesn't, because I know we're not going to pull off a metaverse, so I'm not going to do that. So that's why definitely not going to happen. If there's tech that allows us to do it. And that allows us to create something that
there is a bit of tech, Max. I'm going to tell you now, right?
100%.
I'm a bit of a technical advisor. Yeah, I'm going to tell you how we can. There is a way that you could do it. I know I'm an outsider telling you how to run your project here, but there's these things called jigsaws, right? They're really cool. It's like an image, and it's cut down in loads of different pieces, loads of small little parts, and you can put the pieces together that gives you that big image. You could do like a Uni 25 jigsaw drop. That's proper retro.
A jigsaw puzzle,
yeah.
And I think and I like what you just mentioned, because we do have a little bit of nod to retro. Like I think if people like kind of remember our one pieces, we had a lot of inspired by old sci-fi movies, like from Blade Runner, from many of these type of things, and we kind of like that little nod to the past. And because technically those movies were talking about the future that we live in now, so it's kind of fun to kind of make fun, poke fun at it in a way of being like, well, we're kind of halfway to what these people envisioned back then when they did Blade Runner. We don't have flying cars and stuff, but it's still fun. We're kind of paving our way through a metaverse or through that kind of universe. So we love that kind of retro aspect. I like that jigsaw puzzle. I'm definitely going to take note of that.
Really? Yeah. I'm taking a piss, mate. But yeah, you have it, man. You can have it. So right, yeah, your side.
Matt's going to ask me to do that, so it's not going to be fun, but we'll get it.
If you don't do it, Boss Cats will.
I'm not going to say anything.
Boss Cats are great. We love Boss Cats. But
welcome. There's a place for everybody.
No, of course there is. I've got I don't really spread hate about anything. Concepts such as metaverse I can be critical on, but I'm still positive about what it could be, and wherever it evolves, it'll be something recognisable. But what I'm always sceptical on is projects that try to I'm going to say something I don't want to say then, but take advantage of people. as well. And I think we've got responsibility.
You always in anything we do, and not even in metaverse world, in anything, it's you're always going to have the bad bunch. And I remember when we launched our project back in December, we kind of had all this, our odds didn't look very good because we kind of came up when rugging on Cardano was very just, every other drop was basically a rug.
Just December was
so
mad.
A lot of people.
December was mad for drops. Everything happened in December.
Yeah,
I was skinned.
And I don't know who in our team, usually is the guy community, in charge of community, had the brilliant idea to launch just before Hoppers and Equine, which is the the maddest idea you could do, and it's definitely not me. I wasn't the one.
For the record, I choose Uni to 25 out of those 3.
That's nice. Well, the thing is, and a lot of people are like, okay, now we have Hoppers, so I need to stack my liquidity for that, and afterwards we have Equine, which is one of the highest priced open mints.
You were Saturday,
so
Equine was Sunday, Hoppers was Monday, I think I remember.
Exactly. So we were just in the middle of it. So and we were talking back then when liquidity on Cardano was basically what ETH does in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So the total liquidity, we're talking about, the volume that we have now is still little compared to ETH because we're growing. Back then it was, even less. So, there was only really place for one project at the time. So, you would see one go shoot up and then one other would mint, and it would just have this kind of up and down everything. So
yeah, the money's been shared around, isn't it, going out, and it's slowly growing, but there's a carousel there. The money's going through each project, goes up and down and goes around, but that's a process of escalating and increasing value.
You have to live with it, and a lot of we had a whole Discord, I'm not going to say who or what, but kind of dedicated to kind of bashing us a little bit and our idea about you're not going to make it, because we minted at 42 ADA back then, and 40 ADA was acceptable, 42 was considered too much. And so we were kind of getting bashed on that. So we kind of we wanted to prove everyone that, we know what we're doing, and our marketing was very driven around the art. So it's as soon as people are going to see it, because we did pre-mint, which I think was the kind of thing that made us capable of selling out.
So
was because we
popular,
pre-minted. So we basically flooded Pull.pm for 24 hours because we were minting 10,000 NFTs.
I've got to tell you, man, just a butt in there.
NFTs being mint.
So sorry to butt in, but I felt like I was a real detective there because I saw it. I thought, the Uni 25s are messaging my mate. They're on the blockchain. You can see them already. Look at them. Women are definitely less. Get a woman, they're rare. I can see them.
Yeah, so we had two groups, even the people that were very confused because I thought we minted and were like, hey, what is this scam? And then we had a second group which really enjoyed it because you kind of could, they kind of see it unfold. And a lot of people came in from Pull.pm in our Discord and hey, what the heck is going on? Yeah. Are they minting? I thought, I never heard of this project. And that kind of paved our way of, being able to kind of, in terms of marketing thing, that was our biggest promotion. Besides, obviously, I think we had Con and we had Jack, which were two really big people that helped our project very early on. I think these three combinations, that really helped us grow as a project, and we kind of went the way of let the art speak, and if people enjoy it, they'll talk about it, and that's kind of what people on Discord and people on Twitter did. So it was definitely
Jack and Con that got me.
For everybody there.
Jack and Con got me into them because I had to hang around being the degenerate that I am. But they were talking about, but it's not just people talking about it. As soon as you see it, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the artwork strikes a relevance. It strikes a chord with all of us because we're all linked to our devices so much. So it's that awareness. As soon as you've seen it, and when I did that intro earlier about saying it's one of the most recognisable and iconic pieces of art, I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your art. It really is, and I don't care what network you are. When you see it, it's just it's a brand. It's right there for you. So kudos, Flavio, for what you come up with there. It's a nice bit of work you've done there. So he's in his old world, isn't he? Oh, no, he's there.
Yeah, he's focus on it.
Thanks, son. Let me get back to my work. Flavio, do you want to talk us through what you've done?
I've been begging him to do this piece for a while now because we're preparing something quite neat.
Let's talk about it then.
I don't know, Flavio, do you want to talk about it or should I kind of go for it?
I think, do you organize the whole thing? You have a better overview about it, so I think you should explain it.
Yeah, so we have, so what we did, I don't know if you guys seen, we did an art contest. which really went like well in our opinion. Like it was very well received in the sense that people enjoyed doing it, and we had some really amazing talents. Like every single entry was just amazing and just quite fun to see what people, you know, how they kind of perceived, you know, their our NFT in a way, and they kind of modified it. So we gave the base, you know, classic thing. We give the base, and they can have fun with it. And then, you know, now after, you know, we didn't want to just have it live as a like, you know, as a simple art contest. It's on Twitter, and then, you know, prices could go out and we forget about it. So now we are kind of in the process of collaborating with Artano to kind of
Estonian brothers.
Sorry,
the Estonian brothers, aren't they? Artano, good guys.
yeah, no, Artano are two. Like, I'm in contact with two guys, with the two founders, and one of the two founders, and they're very very professional. They know what they're doing, and love the team. They're really good people, and they've. I think the philosophy that we have with them is very similar. It's kind of like slow build, and the work will do the talk.
Yeah.
And that's very much what they're doing. Like I told them, like, you guys should brag more because their auction system is very well built. You know, they're still building, they're still improving a lot of things, but their smart contract for the auction, you know, lets you split funds, you know, directly to wallets. So you can say 10% goes there and 90% goes there. Very, very cool stuff that they're building, and I told them they need to brag a little bit more. But they're happy with doing what they want, and so we kind of asked them, so hey, can we kind of run an auction, you know, with these pieces? So if we can mint them, whitelist the policy ID, and then use Artano as a platform to provide these pieces that were created during the competition to be auctioned off, and all proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, go to the artists, not us. What they do with the funds, it's completely up to them. We have some crazy entries, you know, that kind of joined in, and we just kind of wanted to give, not even give back, you just kind of give the respect that these pieces, you know, deserved. Yeah. It's like really what we wanted to do with that. So right now we're in the middle, and we need a kind of promotional piece. So I was talking, hey Flavio, can you do something cool? And that's what he's doing now. So it's basically something that we use to kind of, because we were thinking, how can we promote the event rather than single NFTs? Because we have some, like we have Udon, or we have Cosmo, or we have Henry TK, or other, like, have a bigger following. So we're like, we don't want to have this situation where just they get the attention because, you know, it's better for our clout.
Yeah.
So we want to promote the event rather than promoting single artists. So that's why we didn't retweet artists, you know, with clout, which statistics wise would have been wise, but it just didn't feel right to everybody that joined that didn't have, you know, that don't live on Twitter all day and all night. So and that's the same piece. So this piece is going to be used to kind of like promote the auction that we'll be holding on Artano. So we're finalizing the metadata right now and everything, and got people to sign up.
For those of you who don't know,
so we're quite excited about this.
It's really cool, and Artano is a really cool marketplace, as Max just said. They've got they've brought some seriously talented artists on there from other networks. So I don't know how they get, because these are some Estonian developers that are based at Artano, and I've actually spoken to them myself. Just out of interest, trying to get some use cases for RAT, and maybe integrating with those as well with the project. But some of the artwork, the reason that I found them is because I was just watching on Pool FM some artwork come through, and there was just real, like, killer clowns, they were called, or something. They just looked incredible. The depth, the detail, the resolution of the art pieces. That I kind of did some research, found out who it was, DM'd the artist at the back of it just to ask some questions about, you know, where do they come from, because there's just 20 of them in a wallet, and he said that he's putting them on Artano. Then that led me to Artano, and then that's where it kind of started from there. But they're onboarding some seriously talented artists, and I think for Cardano as an NFT ecosystem, or whatever it is, whatever the word is, for it to really mature, it has to buy into like projects like marketplace like Artano that are offering individual small piece collections from artists, and that's when it'll get to the scale of maybe other blockchains, like such as Ethereum, where smaller drops and big artists are have more prominence than just these 10k drops or big projects that come through.
Yeah, I think it's just also like there's so many different varieties of you know, projects, and it doesn't always have to be that everything is a 5k, 10k, 6k drop. You know, an artist can do 2 or 3 pieces you know, a month, and there has to be a place for that. And I don't think JPEG or CNFT makers, which are going to drop, or CNFT.io, if they're still around. If they, it doesn't make sense for them to have that platform. So it's kind of interesting to see how that niche that they are, building for themselves. So it's quite interesting. I'm really looking forward to see how they grow.
So if you've not seen it just yet, go and check
That'll
out
be
Art
exciting.
Anna. So what's this robotic cat then, Flavio, that you're drawing, this cyborg cat? Where's that come from?
This is a rat. This time it's a rat.
Ah, the rat on the side.
Not another mouse.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with rats. You know me.
Yeah, it's O'Brien's assistant.
Cool.
He's a new character that we will be introducing in more depth in the next coming time. So I won't be telling more. So just he's a character that people already. Well, he appeared before our drop when people were starting to whitelist.
Yeah.
So people that are since then in our server may know his name now. But more, I won't say more.
I won't ask you for it. I won't probe you. I'll respect that, Flavio. I'll leave you to your drawing. So that's been an hour max, and Flavio, you've done that in an hour, and it's just incredible to see how quickly you can put something together. And for O'Brien, like, I don't know, for all of us who try and sketch, I might be lucky enough when I'm sketching to draw something and it looks all right first time around. But then when I try and replicate it or do it again, it looks like something completely different. Whereas you've just drawn O'Brien perfectly. And that's the sign of a true artist there, that can do those things, not a bumbling idiot like myself that's trying to.
Or just doing it for hours.
Is that what it is?
Like, how do you say, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you're a pro or something? Isn't that a saying?
I think none of it is just like a social outcast, really, if you do something for that long, really. You don't socialise with anybody.
Yeah,
you call it whatever you want, but what I always like to ask is how do the people around you in real life understand the world that you're doing? So you both work together. How do you explain to your boss or your colleagues that, I'm off to work in Web3 without them thinking you're just like part of a drug cartel?
Just say I'm selling JPEGs. No, I don't know. It's really difficult. I have to say, it's most of the people don't understand it, and even though you try to explain it to them very simply, it's still not tangible for a lot of people. But I think that's a thing that every one of us know. Yeah. I mean, not just artists or community leaders or even the ones that buy into NFTs, if they have to explain it to someone outside the space that has nothing to do with NFTs or digital art in any way, it's always, you always tell it differently because you always notice, I think this time I will try this approach, or this time I will try this one.
I'm getting that weird stare again. But I found it when I'm trying to explain to people that I'm part of a decentralized autonomous organization that specializes in the acquisition of non-fungible tokens, and I've teamed up with some Argentinians and an American and Guatemalan across the road, that people start thinking, right, this guy's lost it a little bit here. I try to tell my brother I've not seen for 6 months ago that, hey dude, everything's changed, right? I've left my job in teaching and now I'm hooked up with these Argentinians. It's mad. But that's just how the world can go at the moment. It's going so fast. Where were you 12 months ago? Like, where were your minds? Were you anywhere near this project 12 months ago?
Well, I have to be honest, I don't think so. I started drawing some NFTs already 2 years ago when it started to come up. But I had no idea how it works. I just draw them. Someone told me, did you hear of NFTs? Don't you want to try it? And I think I made an account on Rarible at that time. And then I tried to mint my piece. And then it started to like stack up multiple transactions. I had to pay this and this, and I didn't get it at that time.
Yeah.
I got to mint them, but it was like rather expensive, and I didn't know if I did it right.
Yeah. You felt a bit
those
dirty
pieces
and
are
like
out there, but I don't know if I did it right. So
yeah.
I think you paid like a $500 in gas fee. I remember that because you came to the office and you're like, what the fuck did I just spend money on?
yeah.
I'm not going to tell my wife about it. I'm just going to just pretend I didn't do it, and it'll be better. We'll be millionaires one day. It'll be fine.
How the credit card bill, you'll be good, yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? Just the difference in time, and that's for all of us in the CNFT space or the NFT space in general. Just when we look back at 6 months ago, when we look back at 12 months ago, and then we can think, well, where are we going to be in the next 6 months? Where are we going to be in the next 12 months? I know everything's about like now and that instant gratification that we touched on before, but when you actually just take a minute to think, well, how exciting is this going to be just in 6 months, in 12 months, in 2 years, in 5 years? It's mind blowing sometimes, and I think that the potential of it is just frightening. I love it.
Yeah. I think less than 6 months ago, no, more than 6 months ago, we were still minting on Google spreadsheets. So we've come a long way in that time.
Pretty much,
as a space.
It is exciting, and I think we're right. And though it's worth all those awkward stares from family members, from loved ones, from colleagues. That when you say, "Look, this is really exciting," you're talking to people in the corner. But I think they'll come around to it some days. I like to ask this question, right? Because we're all NFT fans at our heart, whether we're involved in projects or not. But I'd just like to know, what are your 3 favourite projects? Max and Flavia, you jump in as well. What are your favourite 3 projects? So Max, you go first.
That's a tough one. I'm not going to say this is a dick riding because Jack is in the chat, but DCC I think is one for me that was kind of like a staple in the community. So I think so many people build their characters around their PFP. Like you, for example, you're still repping a DCC profile picture. You got Oxy, and you got Connoisseur. Like people that really build their brand around their profile picture. Which I think, in my personal opinion, they're the only one that have managed to do that as a proper NFT project. So, and I'm really not saying that because Jack is in the room. I really mean it.
He's a tough guy, Jack. We have to say that. He's a tough guy, Jack. We have to say that when he's in room. But no, I'm with you on that as well.
We're in a closed Discord. He's taking the piss of me every second word I'm saying. So if you hear me laugh or distract, it's because he's taking the piss of me. So I'm used to it by now.
He's dropping the Hasbullahs, no doubt.
Hasbullah every time, yeah.
I'll say something. I'll just add that to the DCC, and it's not a shill, but for me, the DCC, it was the first place where I really felt that I was part of a community, and I kind of like-minded. There's people. It was like where you drop in. It was like your pub or something where I just go in and I chat to people. It's the one place that I stay consistent, where that's my club. And I know it's called Degen Crypto Club, but it was just they harnessed. I just thought, a group of people at a time, I think that got there, and I don't know if it's that degen spirit or there's something about that degen word that appeals to me and appeals to so many others. But yeah, it's a good project. Jack's a bit of a rum fella, but the project's fine.
He's a wild card. Yeah. Depends, But, no, I think to me it's interesting. I just like how you build it. It's very genuine. It's no bullshit. It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
He says what it is, and I've learned a lot from that, me personally. So I really appreciate what they've done and what he's done as a project lead in a sense. But the community itself has done a lot to that. So so for me, DC is like a sense of like it belongs to Cardano. Like I'm not going to get some shit, but the good blue chips. Even though I'm very set, it's a word, but really mean it. So it's a really good, valuable project in that sense. Then I have to go with Pendulum.
Pendulum, okay.
Kind of like Cosmo, my kind of like, we kind of branding ourselves as twins. We really get along very well, but I was really hooked on with, I think George sent me the Twitter back when they're like about 50 or 100 followers, and we're kind of like fanboying over them. So I really like the art. Love the founder.
Yep.
And then I'm just going to go by biggest holding, which I guess would be for me, Death Squad, I think, would be the second one, which I kind of enjoy the piece the most.
Death Squad?
And combine from like the ones I know Lewis,
I was part of the original.
Maybe Digital Lowlights. I think this one is quite cool.
Yep.
And, special shout out to the FUD Buddies. They deserve their place in the world. But I'm not biased on that one.
FUD Buddies? Who were they? Who were the FUD Buddies?
Sorry?
Who were the FUD Buddies?
It's basically three twats that just decided to build something, and somehow it worked out. But yeah, no, these are kind of like the projects I really enjoy. And Fun Buddies just sticking around, but yeah, that like just what I enjoy kind of seeing and coming up. I really think digital. I'm very curious to see how digital low life's going to pan out, because it's a very unique concept of how they're doing it. So it's going to be interesting.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's kind of my list, I guess.
Flavio, what about you? Where's your inspiration coming from?
It's rather. I mean, I like so many of them. So well, if I had now to say, I think Forgotten would be one of the ones I really like, just because also the storytelling part. I mean, it's one of the projects that I feel like comes also kind of close to the style or to the way we are thinking about our project, like with hidden stuff, with cool environment that is like very how do you say dystopian?
Dystopian.
I like and I think Forgotten. I really like the art of Sampo. I mean, it's just amazing. I think they are really creating stuff every day. I think Forgotten, I would say, it's a really great one. Then, yeah, I found one that I really liked the art some time ago. I think it's called Noir Guys.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's much happening there right now. But this kind of pixel art is one that kind of caught me. I don't know. It's I really like the minimalistic style and black and white and just pixels just are on point.
Which is
So
unusual
yeah.
to hear. Not unusual, but it's almost contrasting, because you know you've obviously got such a talented art style in what you do, and sometimes it can be not criticism. Well, yeah, a little bit of criticism. Label towards pixel art and that, because it's quite simplistic and it's things. So from a creative guy and an artist like yourself, paying respect to pixel art, that says a lot.
I love everything that is minimalistic, because I'm not just an illustrator. I also worked as a designer, and if you compare my design work with my illustration work, they are like two different worlds. I really like clean and minimalistic designs. It's one of the things I really like. And yeah, I totally respect pixel art. Pixel art is not that easy as many people may think.
If you love minimalistic design, you will love the new IKEA futon that I've just put in my conservatory at the moment. It's stunning. There's nothing else on there but that nice little IKEA futon. So futon, by day it's a sofa, but if you want to chill at night, you can roll it out into a sofa. It's a minimalistic chic, I like to say. So yeah. Third project.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Third project. Let me see. I think I really like Earth Natives.
Yeah.
Well, because yeah, the art is very clean and not minimalistic, but I think it's very unique. And also their message, their project to help people that don't have much building a home, helping people in real life, not just inside our community. I think it's a very noble cause, and I like how they approach stuff and how they went through their roadmap and delivered. I mean, that's, I think, really great. I really like Earth Natives.
No, it's good to give them a shout out because they're doing good stuff, aren't they? And it is difficult for projects because people want to flip. They want projects that are just quick and accessible and recognizable. And they want to flip it quickly. And for them to they're doing well. They're doing well. They're there. They're pushing out to do what they're doing. It's commendable. It's respectable as well. That's a proper web link bridging Web 3 with Web 2 project, isn't it? You hear about that a lot, don't you? We're trying to bridge Web 2 and Web 3, but they genuinely are in terms of like the humanitarian aspects and the awareness of the building. So nice project.
Well, they're definitely doing what they promise, and to me that's really commendable. So it's quite interesting and very, very respectable what they're doing. I enjoy seeing that.
Cool. I think with that, guys, we've been on now an hour and 20. We've had a real good discussion. It's been like hanging out on a Friday night. I hope people have enjoyed listening to it this evening. Flavio, thank you so much for doing that drawing. I've enjoyed it immensely just watching you kind of do your thing. Oh, what are you showing us now? Are you dropping a bit more alpha there?
Little sneak peek into Circle 2, and there we'll...
Oh, so that's a move away from the side profile that you've got there, isn't it? We're looking directly into the eyes of something cool.
We promise that we won't be doing, the same NFT over and over again. So that's our way of saying, hey, we're not going to be, staring at our phones every single circle. Mm-hmm. So now you see what we mean by, metaverse and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like it. And what I get from you guys is just a very considered, responsible way of conducting and running your project as well. It's not over-promising. It's no cliches like we like to over-promise and over-deliver, or it's being responsible at what you can achieve, but taking... And I think that there comes a bit of courage taking that stance as well, because the community demands that news, next step, utility, from the utility wankers, but you're confident in what you're doing, you're respecting kind of, you're being courageous and basically being humble, I think so. Well done with that. And I think you've got a stunning project.
Yeah, it'd be easier for us to promise shit left, right and centre, to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
But, we're not about that life, I guess, if that sounds...
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You got foot buds for that. No, I just want to thank you very much on behalf of CNFT Tools and everyone that's listening tonight. It's recorded now, so we'll get it up on YouTube. And if anyone's really feeling that low point in their life where they've got nothing else to do, they can jump on and listen to my droning voice. But you've been the star of the show, so thank you very much.
No, I hope we made it interesting for everybody joining, and hope we could answer some questions. And join our Discord. We don't shy away from questions, so just drop them. If I don't answer straight away, spam it and just ping me all every 15 minutes, and I'm sure I'm going to jump on board. But if not, I'm sleeping, so you're tough luck. But we answer to everything, so let us know, and we're looking forward to everybody. So thanks for your time, for letting us be here. I hope you liked what Flavio's been doing today, and yeah, come hang out in our Discord. But thank you very much for everything, man.
No, thank you. And thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
No, bonne nuit.
Bonne nuit.
Have a great day. Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Right, thanks a lot. Take care, guys. Bye.